In this video, I'm going to explain to you the reason why your DIY tailored clothes, well, they might not really be coming out the way that you expected. I'm SD, and on this channel, I show people like you how to tailor their own clothes at home because it is so incredibly life-changing. Like I'm telling you, nothing will boost your confidence more than wearing tailored clothes. So if that sounds like your jam, be sure to click that subscribe button down below. Now, it's not always necessarily rainbows and sunshine when you start tailoring. For the most part, yeah, it's pretty easy and straightforward. I like to present it that way on this channel. There's a couple of things that you should avoid that we should talk about. This intro was way too long. Let's get into this. The very first reason why, and it's actually a pretty common one, and it really kind of just makes sense and is straightforward. Well, you didn't set up your machine properly, or most likely, and you're not using the right accessories. What I'm kind of referring to is your stitch tension. Your stitch tension is hands down, unequivocally the #1 reason as to why your tailored shirts end up looking kind of sort of crappy on you. Your stitches are either all bunched up, or they're way too loose, or you tailor your jeans and then you have a blowout when you go to sit down. Yep, it's most likely because of your stitch tension. Now, I already made an entire tutorial on stitch tension. If you want to go check it out, it's down in the description. But the too long didn't read version is this. It kind of works in the opposite way that you think that it would. Kind of like, well, everything in life, how everything in life works in the opposite way that you think that it would. But once you get your stitch tension down, once you make sure that it's set properly, I'm telling you, that's going to eliminate like 97% of the headaches in regards to tailoring your own clothes. And well, as far as using the right accessories go, when it comes to using the right accessories, if you need to use a denim needle, you should use a denim needle. And if I suggest that you should use polyester thread, you should use polyester thread. Same with anything that stretches like this, like your workout clothes or like sweaters or anything like that. Well, you want to make sure that you use a jersey needle instead of, let's say, a denim needle or a universal needle. Now, don't get me wrong. They will get the job done, yes. Yes, you can use a universal needle on stretchy fabric or stretchy materials, but what ends up happening is you're just gonna run into issues to where it just straight up does not look very good. It can get the job done, but it just doesn't do it very efficiently. It's kind of like putting 87 octane gas in your car when you're supposed to put 93 in there. Yeah, it'll run, it'll get you from point A to point B, but just not very well or not very efficiently. And if this is your face right now, don't panic, don't worry. All of the things that I just mentioned, they all have their own separate tutorials down in the description in case I lost you. This is my brother ST371HD, and the reason why I'm showing you this sewing machine is I have a really cool announcement to make for you guys. I'm officially I'm an ambassador with Brother Sewing Machine Company. And what that means for you guys is that them and I are gonna put a ton of different projects together for you over the next couple of months. Kind of involving and revolving around the fact that men, us guys, are such a poorly represented market within the sewing and the tailoring community. I mean, let's be honest, we've talked about that a lot on this channel. We always talk about the fact that a lot of tailoring content and a lot of sewing content, it's made by women, and it almost kind of sounds and feels like they're talking to other women in a lot of ways. And not that that's bad, that's not a bad thing, it's just that they talk to women as if, they're talking to women who know what they're doing, but, well, there's us, you and me, guys, who really just want better looking clothes. So that's where Brother and I came to an agreement, and we said, yeah, this is a perfect fit. Because, let's be honest, I'm a brother who sews, and now I'm working with Brother Sews. It's like it's meant to be. So this is gonna be the first video amongst a lots of other content that you guys are gonna see popping up over the next couple of months, and I'm so excited. Oh, and full disclosure, no, I didn't pay anything for this sewing machine. Yes, they did send this to me for free. And yes, us working together does involve some compensation, but it's at the end of the day, it's kind of like you getting a job and getting compensated for it. Like, that's just how it works. So just full FTC disclosure. Man, when I first started tailoring my own clothes, I would do stupid things like use white thread when I should have used black thread or vice versa, or I wouldn't take into consideration that I had to know exactly how big or how small my seam allowance was. I don't even know what a seam allowance was in the beginning. So what I would do is I would go to finish the edge of my garment with a zigzag stitch, but my seam allowance wasn't big enough, so it just looked stupid, or it was too big, so it looked even more stupid. Just had this big flap of fabric just flopping along, like rubbing the side of my body like, hey, what's up guys? I tailored my own clothes, can you tell? So dumb. Oh my goodness, you were too aggressive or just inaccurate with your measurements and your pinning and your tailoring. And yo, I am straight up guilty as charged of this. In the beginning, what might end up happening is you might be like me and you might try and taper your clothes just way too much, way too aggressively. Let's say you're tailoring a t-shirt, you might be too aggressive with those side seams. So what ends up happening is, well, it's just, you look like an upside down triangle, because I looked like an upside down triangle. Just kind of be a little bit more, what's the word I'm looking for? Conservative. Yeah, that's the right word. Conservative with your measurements. A tapered t-shirt and a pair of jeans looks amazing on you. Trust me. I know, don't get me wrong, but see, the thing you want to take into consideration is there's kind of a big, vast difference between a nice manly V-taper to your clothes and kind of a slightly awkward towards the other direction hourglass taper. And I used to dabble way towards this side a lot to where it just wasn't very manly anymore. So avoid doing things like that. If you are tapering your clothes at home, make sure you err on the side of caution, because what you want to take into consideration is, yo, if you're not happy and if you don't take off enough on your garments, you can go back and you can take off more. So if you, let's say this is your t-shirt, you put it on, you don't like it. Okay, well, cool. You can go in like this, try it on. Do you like it? Okay, perfect. But if you start right here and you don't like it, you can't like magically put fabric on the sides anymore and then say, okay, cool, now I'm back to my original shirt. Doesn't work that way. I cannot stress this enough. It is way easier to spend 3 minutes taking off another ½ an inch if you're not satisfied, rather than spending like 10 or 15 or even sometimes 20 or 30 minutes busting out a seam ripper to rip out that seam you just put on there because you don't like it because it's too tight. You see, you didn't buy the right size garment to begin with. Tailoring and clothing alterations are really easy to do. Oh my gosh, they're so easy to do. But yo, I'm telling you, tailoring, it can only do so much. It can only go from, let's say, here to here. And if you try and stretch it out and go from here to here, well, it's gonna get a little bit muddy and a little bit tricky. If it is incredibly baggy already, or if it is incredibly long already, well, see, you're not going to be happy with the end result, because what ends up happening is, let's use a t-shirt for an example. If your t-shirt is 3 sizes too big for you, it's 3 sizes too big all around. All of the proportions are too big, not just the length of the shirt, not just the width of the shirt. So what's going to end up happening is you're going to go and taper the sides of your t-shirt, which is obviously you can do that, but well, the problem you run into is the shoulders. These shoulders are the #1 thing that I always make sure fit on my garments. And you should make sure that they fit too. Make sure that it fits in the shoulders, because if the shoulders are here and you want to tailor it, you're good. If your shoulder's down here though, no bueno. I've got it on my radar, stay tuned. Yes, you can move shoulder seams, you can move it up like that, but if you're a beginner, just don't mess with that yet. Just buy the right size from the get-go. I get DMs on Instagram all the time from people who want to start tailoring their clothes, and they'll send me an example and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I'm sorry man, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but you're not going to be happy if you tailor that. Yeah, you can do it, but the end result is not going to be to your satisfactory expectations. So just don't even really bother. Make sure that it already fits properly. And for my jeans, I'm a 34-32, so I can absolutely tailor a 36-32, but a 38-32, it can be done, but the proportions just end up getting thrown off, and it's not pretty at all. So if that happens to you, again, shoot for maybe about 2 sizes up. Excuse me, less than 2 sizes up. No more for sure than 2 sizes up. Now go ahead, what are you waiting for? Click that video in the end card. It's on how to tailor a dress shirt, and it's going to take you from point A, this baggy, soggy, poor fitting looking dress shirt. We're going to pin it up and measure it. We're going to tailor it, and then we're going to be happy with those side seams in the end. But see, well, at the very end, we're going to be adding some darts to it. Just make that shirt just fit perfect. So go ahead, I'll see you over there. SD out. See ya.